Alright, we should be recording. I just like seeing that file. I do see the file. Let's continue in Going Medieval, which is in early access at the moment. The key was provided by Tinsley PR for the Irregular Corporation. And the game is developed by Fox Voxel. Since I've never removed, it's actually pretty quick, the launch screen that tells me that. It's easy to remember. And boy, is there news to talk about this week. CES kind of has that impact. But I'm going to share something else first. Microsoft really annoyed me this week. So I have my desktop back up once a week, and apparently Microsoft decided to change some of their Windows Defender definitions, virus definitions, which, yes, they should do that. That's a good thing. You want to keep this up to date, except that they included a false positive that just messed with my day. Apparently, it was somehow thinking the cache file that uBlock uses contained a virus. And not a nice one either. But looking it up, that's what I've seen people say, is that it was a false positive. And that, just by deleting the cache files, that cleared up, and indeed that is what I experienced. So yes, it was in fact just that. But still, man, was that annoying. Anyway. I lost an entire day from that because the backup takes so long to complete. Yeah. Oh, and then also, yeah, this one was funny. They, another update, from a Windows update, keeps failing on the test system. And I looked that up, and the error code that's giving is claiming malware. Well, potentially malware or system file corruption. Except that all checks out. It's not that. I look up the specific update. It's for a feature I don't even use. And it has a known issue of claiming that error code when it has a problem, even though that's not actually the problem. Microsoft is not doing so hot right now. Anyway, yeah, so CES 2024. For me, it actually ends today, though. I'm actually kind of surprised. I haven't gotten any press releases. That's also part of the reason why, I did write up AMD, Intel, and Nvidia news, but it is part of the reason why I, oh wow, I didn't realize this is getting full. That shouldn't have been there either. The heck? Go away. Thank you. I'm gonna expand this out, but no, that should not have had clothing in. No waste either, no books. Now I'm gonna say no structures. Yeah, no apparel. Alright. Which I don't think... What does tallow count as? Medicine and candle material. How that? Alright. You know what? No medicine. They really should have a thing in here, or allow you to create one that is only things that will not decompose when outside. But yeah, anyway. Because of the lack of press releases and also the stress of losing that day and having to deal with all that with the backup and all that, I was not seeing CS news very quickly. That's part of the reason why the AMD, Intel, and Nvidia write-ups I did for their announcements at CES came a little late, but that's the majority of what I have here. Although I do want to add one thing. I want to cover something else first. I didn't realize I put that on the wrong level. Anyway, this was news I actually just saw for me yesterday on Thursday. Play On and Retro Games Limited, I think it is, have worked on a hang on, still just yeah. It's called the 400 Mini, basically a mini retro console of the Atari 400. which is kind of neat. PlayOn also worked with, I don't remember if it was Retro Games or someone else, a mini Atari not too long ago. That one launched back in November and would actually take Atari cartridges, which is definitely neat. Speechcraft 13, 5, 13, 10. Okay. And this is also, it's for a version of the Atari 400, which is nice. And I need to, I have seeds. I have beet seeds. I need to get seeds. If you remember, I somehow lost all my cabbage seeds. I'm not sure how. But it looks like he doesn't have any. But yeah, so the 400 mini 25 games will work with ROMs, but you can ROMs from the original, but you put them on a USB drive. It has 5 USB ports. And I do want to talk about the specific games, but let's see if I can figure this out. Like anything here I want. Not seeing anything. You know what? Because I can't actually do that. If they're in storage, I can sell them. They're not being used. Nah, I'll be making one of those eventually anyhow. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything I want. That's annoying. Alright, what can I do for coin? I don't mind being somewhat favorable to him, but not too much. There. But yeah, so one of the games that they mentioned is called Lee, which was really neat to see because, I mean, I'm not that old, but I do remember playing some of these games because we had an Atari. I don't remember what it was. It was one of the Atari computers, though, that would take the cartridges and floppy disks for games. But Lee is a Bruce Lee-based fighting game. And yeah, I definitely remember playing that. There was another game that they showed I remember playing that as well. I might remember it with a different name than what most people would know it. The Last Starfighter. If you've seen that movie, which I consider to be a very good movie, by the way, it's just classic science fiction, classic hero's journey, and just the way I would put it, and I know this is potentially a little insulting, but in no way do I mean it that way. It is a better movie than it should be. And by that I mean it is a B movie. It straight up is a B movie. But it is such a solid B movie. I mean, it's just such a good movie regardless of the fact that it's technically a B. It is legitimately, my feeling is you could remake that movie today barely changing the script. Like, yes, there are some things you need to change, but a lot of it you wouldn't need to change. And it would be great. So I'm just also... Because I want to try to feed the damn dog. I just don't know how. I do have plenty of sheep, though. That is an old sheep. I'm sure I got... No, I don't. What? How do I... Whoa, I don't want to kill it then. It's the only sheep I have. I did not realize I only had one sheep somehow. That is a lot of female goats. I guess the oldest of them. Yes. Don't really. There won't be any battles, so there. Alright. But yeah, so last Starfighter game, saw that there. But yeah, I mean, it is neat. I don't know if I had to get it, the Mini 400, but that's a me thing. I've got the retro NES and SNES, and I've barely touched them. And it is also, I would think that there's a decent chance these non-Nintendo retro consoles might be a little easier to find in that they're probably continuing to be in production. I think, didn't Nintendo end production of the classic NES and SNES? I don't quite remember, but anyway, that was neat to see. And I'm not that old. I do feel the need to say that. I'm not that old. Anyway, yeah, so what do we get? I don't have so many notes for Intel. Intel's press release was also weird. Like, one thing that's annoying is that, like, AMD, if you look at an AMD press release, like, from this week from CS, they include tables of the specifications for the CPUs and such that they announced. Intel doesn't do that for whatever reason. Like, they'll give some information about the top of the line they're announcing, the top of the series they're announcing, but that's it. They won't do more. It's really annoying. So I looked at Veronix had screenshots because they're basically in the press deck, slide deck. I'm not sure if so that stuff that I mentioned about Microsoft at the beginning, that wiped out my week, which may sound weird, but it is true because I'm gonna put her to work because the stress of that, the way stress impacts me is not fun. And it made it harder for me to get some things done, including some of that news. And it's like, I definitely did not feel, if I had free time, I was like going to be resting or something. I wasn't going to be trying to dig deep to find stuff. So it's like I just kept to the press releases as best I could. But yeah, so with Intel, they announced, and this is also something, the way it was written, I did not quite follow. The way they wrote their press release made it sound like it was an addition to their 14th gen series, but it also kind of seemed like, no, this might be the whole their 14, because they announced 18 CPUs. Not true. There's the 14900, the 14900T, and the 14900K or F. No, I think it was K. So it's like some of them are like it's variants of the same CPU, but it's still, they did that. 18, I do remember that. And they look nice and all that. I think I'd still keep to AMD in part just because I don't want to have to deal with the whole. Oh, now that's funny. So when she finished that off, that's when she would just pick it up and carry it away. So they do have the logic for doing that. It's just they have no logic to protect your catch. Anyway, my mind just switched off. Intel announced phase desktop processors. 18 were there. For that. I don't remember how many they announced for mobile. Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I was saying. I don't want to have to deal with the whole with Intel, the P-core versus E-core stuff. When it comes to performance. The heck? Yeah. No, actually, no. Go ahead and train her. Wow. Actually caught it straight away. Cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just when I have things that I want to have processing that would be multi-core, it's nice if I know the cores will all work the same. Like same instructions, same speed kind of stuff, so I mean, don't get me wrong, I like that Intel's doing stuff there like that. I really do, but I also feel that I'm not sure if AMD is gonna do well, wait. No, I don't remember if they're doing any of the hybrid stuff between their like Zen 4 and Zen 4C cores, like having them both on the same CPU. I don't know if they're doing that. But that makes a lot more sense to me, where it's cut down, but it's an identical core, so all the same features are present. It's just like gonna be a lower frequency, so lower power usage. What else though? I don't remember what else there might be to make it different, make the C variants different. It was like that it does make more sense to me to do that. And I believe that would also be more reliable in the long run, so I do like that. But it still is the idea of having the hybrid core design. No, I'm good with that. It makes sense. It really does make sense. And in a way, you've seen that for a while. I know AMD's had it. I'm confident to just next to the point of certainty that Intel has also had it, where you recognize that, hey, these cores are better than these cores, are more efficient than those cores, so it's like these can clock higher, and you can try to put certain tasks on these versus those. Like, that logic has existed for a while, and basically making it part of the physical design does make a lot of sense. Why are there apples over here? There. Wait, what? What? Oh, this. Okay. It's like, what are you talking about? I didn't make a new... Yeah, I just finished, like, putting the roof in on that. What was it that I wanted to do next? I honestly just don't quite remember. I do know one thing I should actually do. Oh, hang on. Yes. In fact, urgent. I'm just gonna look around for any wild food. Well, like wild cabbage. It probably isn't out at here, but I can find any. Some boar. It's a terrible idea to do that. I'm just trying to remember. I was talking about the core design stuff because I got off topic. Boy, is that something I do a lot. Yeah, it's part of who I am. In some ways, I want to keep it because it's, even if I talk too much, at least I have opinions on things that I can therefore talk about, and I've got typically also some level of knowledge about the things I'm talking about. Not always, I acknowledge that, but many times I do. But yeah, so AMD also announced quite a bit. The 7600 XT, so that's a new graphics card. The 8000G series for AM5, and also some new 5000 series for AM4, including the 5700X3D. That's right, that's what I want. Okay, then no, I cancel that. What? Yes. But it is also... No, here... Because I want to extend a roof over this stuff. So it can stay outside, but I want it under a roof. Yeah, the 5700X 3D... 5700, I think? 56... No, I don't remember all of them for AM4, but it still is kind of neat, right? That they are... oh yeah, I wanted to do this too. That they are actually still trying to continue support for all that. Yeah. I figure I'll try to have training for the, for some of the older ones. Older animals here. And I don't want to mess with the sheep. So I want to leave enough so that they can still... I don't know if the... I guess pets should also breed, but I'm just not sure. Yeah, I'm still happy with the 5800X 3D. Hang on. What? Come on. Yes, there. Although, that is actually true. Hang on. I just realized that. I can actually have it be a little closer because the, there we go. The thing will go, I can extend the roof over further. And by roof, I do just mean I'm gonna have this come out like that. Oh wait, no, not that one. Yeah, so my guess is with the 5700X3D, that's probably they are just still manufacturing the Zen 3 dies, and there's enough that are coming out good enough for use there, but they're manufacturing them probably for the sure. They're probably manufacturing them for Epic, but it's like, I mean, this is part of the thing with the whole chiplet design that they came up with for the original Zen, that it is so profoundly powerful because they can produce a single product and just put it wherever they feel it would be the most profitable. That is amazing. That really is. So if they are just mass producing, so if they are just mass producing these things to cover Epic, then they've also got leftovers that can go elsewhere, including to consumer parts. Okay, so I am actually going to want to extend this out sooner rather than later. Okay. So now it should... Just be that. And that. And I will have another apartment soon. Ish. It always takes a while for this stuff to get built. And we can do it that. Although, how does that... Alright, I can go with that. My brain just turned off. I hate it when that happens. So yeah, the 8000G series is just basically the Zen 4 with a better integrated GPU in there. Since they do already have all Zen 4 all Zen 4 CPUs do have an integrated GPU. Oh, actually, I don't remember if the Threadripper does. In any case, that... Oh, it does lose it from being outside? Damn, I gotta move him back. I mean, there'll be other stuff I can put outside. Oh, I didn't realize that wasn't doing anything. Curdling, fermenting, and fermenting. Actually, no, it can be like that. I do want them common. I do want them to be the same. Yeah, so a more advanced GPU in there than just what the Zen 4 normal CPUs offer. And it is coming to the AM5 platform, so if that's what you're rocking, or if you want to do a new system and not need a discrete GPU, that's what those are for. Although I did see... I didn't look too closely at it, because as I said, it was... This wasn't a week for me to be focusing on some stuff. Apparently, at least some of the CPUs are... they don't have much for PCIe lanes, because how some of the discrete GPUs are integrated GPUs are connected actually by PCIe, which is a little annoying. It makes sense, but it's a little annoying. The result of which is then that it's like you only have 8 lanes that you can use for a discrete GPU. Just trying to think of anything else to mention on that. Not really. But it still is. It does go all the way up to an 8-core 16-thread. So, like, my dad is... Oh, man, what is that? I don't remember what the CPU is. It used to be mine. But it's a Bulldozer-era APU. Yeah, back when AMD still used the APU naming. Oh, yeah, and I just realized I need to set his jobs. Here he is. Whoa, he's got some nice ones. Okay, I think that's fine. But yeah, he's using that. So it's like building a new computer for him. One of these would be perfect for that, probably. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't. Because he does use 2 HDMI outs. And, well, the motherboards probably only have HDMI and DisplayPort. If they have two. That would be it. What are you doing? But still, something like that would probably be good for him. Much more powerful CPU. Because he does do some video work there. But he has a GTX 1050. And hey, for what he needs, works fine. But I could believe the integrated GPU would actually beat that. But anyway, yeah, the RX 7600 XT, that is launching, well, it will be available January 24th. And starting at $329. And from what I could see, it's this almost identical specs to the 7600 that's currently available. But it has double the memory, so it's 16 instead of 8 gig. And the clock speeds are up, so is the power utilization, which I know, and I understand the temptation to just say, oh, all they did was overclock the thing, basically, and that's why it's power usage. Well, the extra memory will also contribute to that. But it still went from, what was it, 165, I think, to 190? Which does it, well, not completely, but it does kind of explain why. I think I did see somebody reporting that they were seeing 2 8-pins on there, which would be enough for 300 watts. One PCIe 8-pin is 150. A 6-pin is 75. The slot is 75. So they would actually only need an 8-pin and the slot for 190. So I'm not sure why they would have added one, except excuse me, except I think that it has just become the norm, essentially, that you try to avoid using the slot's power. I mean, it makes some sense, but I mean, it's... I like... Okay, I think it was back in original Threadripper days. Actually, I don't know if it's the case for my Asus Zenith. Maybe it was the Zenith Extreme? Wait, no. I had the Zenith Extreme. It was the Zenith Extreme Alpha that was the refresh of it. There. Off. I mean, since it's now in use. Turn that on. But I know I have seen an HEDT motherboard that actually had a PCIe 8-pin on there. Might have had 2, so it could more reliably provide power to the PCIe slots. Definitely a neat thing. Only makes sense for something that has a bunch of slots, because otherwise it all has to come through the 24-pin. Because the EPS, that's just for CPU. But yeah, I mean, it's like, that's neat. And I do kind of like that Asus is working on the whole having a, like an extra slot next to PCIe that can provide, I think it is up to 300 or 600 watts of power. Now you do need additional power connectors to the motherboard. I think they put them on the back. But, I do like that, but I think that should be more of a, hey, PCI SIG, update the slot specification. Even going to 150 watts up from 75 watts, just doing that would mean you'd have a lot of GPUs that are now a 6-pin or an 8-pin, and that's it. A lot of them. Only the highest end would actually need... Yeah, come on. I need one of you idiots. No, come on. You know what? Yes, just hunt it. I need somebody here to actually... There. Anyway, I don't want to put this stuff on islands. That's just... Anyhow, But I do just think they need to just update the specification to support more. To support more power there. Because, I mean, it's... if you could do 150 watts through that slot, and I do think that it's reasonable to believe you can. I might be wrong, but... Or even if... I mean, in theory, you could just extend the slot. Like a well, no, not to 32, but say a hypothetical by 20 slot instead of by 16. So that additional width, maybe have to go to 24, so basically the extra pins for a 4 or an 8. Because I'm thinking, you can have a PCIe by 1 card that fits into a PCIe 16 slot, no problem. A PCIe by 4 card in a 16 slot, no problem. Why not start making the slots longer like that if you need to add additional power pins? But do that, and I think a lot of people would be very happy, because that would still work with PCIe by 16. And those cards that can have the power. I mean, I guess you would want to do like Asus, where it is a completely separate thing, because there's that tab on the locking tab. So you'd want something that could skip over that. Oh, well, no, you could have that just be a gap in the slot where that still goes into the slot. But regardless, I do think that is a good idea. I'm just not the happiest with that implementation. Also, if Asus has that being proprietary, I would not be happy. It's like, I want this everywhere! Why are you taking it away from me? Oh yeah, that's right. That is right, yes. I need smelting. Yeah, what is this? I don't want leather in here. I have no... Well, here, let's actually look. Clothing, fabric, construction material. Yeah, it shouldn't be a carcass. You know what? Yeah, just no textiles. Brain just turned off again. Last thing I was saying was, if it's a proprietary standard, that would also upset me, because I do think that is something that people would want. I mean, it's also, I've been saying for a while, people would love it if, oh, perfect, male and female, if I could get both of them. I do also think people would like it if you could, if instead of always pushing to faster PCIe, and faster NVMe, I should say, storage drives and such, if it were instead, like, if you split the PCIe 5 down to 3, that's 4 times the lanes. Okay? Because each generation doubles the bandwidth, so 5 to 4, like 1 lane of PCIe 5 is the same as 2 lanes of PCIe 4 is the same as 4 lanes of PCIe 3. I think that a lot of people would like the idea of, yeah, I'll take and put in, like, 4 2 terabyte PCIe 3 speed drives, because that's 8 terabytes right there, even without having to, like, do any RAID, and they did do some kind of RAID setup. Then it's like, okay, now I've got that, and it's much faster and all that, potentially some data protection. I mean, it's like, I think a lot of people would love that. But that's not what they're doing. It's like, faster, faster, faster. It's like, why? Most people, it's the storage that they care about, not the speed. I mean, speed is good, but it's also, you could probably have a lot. If you actually divided up your hardware, and I know, I've still got stuff for CS to talk about, but if you could divide up your your storage properly between, like, this is stuff that needs to be fast, this is the stuff that can be slow, but you just want to be able to hold a lot of it, I'll bet that you could see a lot of things where it's like, yeah, this, for a lot of people, yeah, maybe 10% of it, I could even see being lower, where speed actually matters. Or at least matters significantly. I'm completely serious. I do think that you would find that it is that little of your data actually needs high speed. Oh, then go to sleep. Yeah, that's all I got there. So yeah, Nvidia also, they announced the Super Series, which is just the 4070, 4070 Ti, and 4080. So they're refreshes. And again, this is one of those things that, like how I was saying, Intel wasn't sharing specs across them all, but AMD does in their press release, or did in their press release. Yeah, Nvidia, same thing. No specific details that I was seeing in their press release. Just some like comparisons to the 3000 series. Now, fortunately, they did at least include data, both, well, numbers, even if you can't, I shouldn't say data, just numbers, for if it is both, like, just raw performance, but also with frame generation. Turned on, they were including both, so that was nice. At least they were doing that. Oh, yeah. Oh my god, I did not realize there was this much. Man. I should have extended these a while ago, actually. Come on. Yeah. Well, I don't mind that there's not enough to sow the field, but, I mean, if you could at least have some in there. And I honestly did not realize it was this bad. Yeah, all layers, and it didn't actually do it. It's still not doing it. What the heck? Was I accidentally using normal haul? I might have been. Okay. Oh yeah, and I also should be doubling these. Well, adding more of these. Okay, good. Yep, that'll work. Yeah, it did seem like they were with how they were saying, hey, it's this much faster, or hey, it's this much faster. Because they were targeting the 3000 series there, I guess that they are trying to aim the supers at people that are still on 3000 series. Which also reminds me, AMD with the 7600 XT mentioned for ray tracing performance that it would, I don't remember the number. But they were actually comparing it to the 2060, which is the lowest level RTX GPU. Maybe not the best thing if you want to do a comparison for a new GPU, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, alright, I mean, if that's what you want to do. I guess it does make sense, because that's probably more so the actual, target. Like, you know, people with that level of GPU and, that much money, and, there was another one, another thought. Can't think of it. Six? No, 7. Which one is it? Okay, no, it is Edith here. I'm just trying to remember, what was I saying, then trying to form the words to say it. That, yeah, I do think that AMD just figures that it's that mid-level performance. I mean, that is what the 7600 XT would target. But also, it's like, hey, people still using 2060. Because remember, that was a 1440p class card. And a lot of people, that's probably all they really need. Still, I mean, it's... Okay, good. I don't need apple saplings. I'm pretty good there. Beets. Oh, I could sell. Oh, goody! I'll take them all. No, I don't even... Screw it, I'll just take all your seeds. I'll use them. I'll also take chickens. Wow. This is, like, potentially really good. Oh, wait. I actually don't need flax seeds. Whoops. Yeah, you want hay? I'll give you hay. Bow, 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 no, no, no. Okay. Where is the hay? Because for whatever reason, that actually, like, works nicely, and I got lots of it. Yeah, that'll work. I don't mind giving him some extra. I'm emptying him out on so much, and I'm taking chickens. Yes, put the chickens there. Hopefully they will survive making it there. And it's already got feed in there too, which is good. The chicken isn't even moving. What? Okay, it's snapped in there finally. Yeah, I can... So I was just saying that, yeah, the 7600 XT talking about... Anyway, coming back to NVIDIA. What else did they do? Yeah, I just am... Oh, yeah, they're all launching this month at $600, $800, and $1,000. So $200 separating each of them. They are launching at different times, but all this month. Yeah, and as I did make a note in there about, I didn't see specific specifications given compared to the non-super versions. That I don't really know why that's the case, but it is. I do not want to train the chickens. Let them be as they are. Oh yeah, I did select the wrong one there. There we go. Okay, am I just gonna have to change their schedule? I mean, it's also true, they're not going to bed when I'm telling them they can't. So, yeah, take an extra hour. NVIDIA also announced... Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't see the specifications given. They were just talking about flops, which some of that stuff... I was like, the basic computing teraflops? Yes, that you can do some comparisons on, but that changes based on core count and frequency. Almost there. How are you deprived of religious activities? They are here. They're right here. How is... What? Oh, yeah, no, that actually does make sense. Okay. but they were also sharing like the AI flops and the RT flops, but it's like those are. I remember when they first, at least for the RT flops, when they were first using that, people were pointing out, NVIDIA just made this number up. We got no idea what it actually translates to. So, whatever. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna use ever a comparison because I don't really know what it means, and it is because it's not a standard metric. You don't necessarily know how much it might be. That they just set it to whatever they want it to be. And that they can change it. I mean, it's just... That is a risk when somebody comes up with any new metric. Because it is flops, you know, like for a total computing potential relevant for ray tracing? Yes. But does that mean that it is going to have any sensible meaning between things? No. Because how you, like, one algorithm might work really, really well at high flops, but not so well at, and then another might not work as well at high flops and might have other things that is more beneficial. It's kind of like how flops is also itself not necessarily the end-all be-all of compute metrics. Anyway. They also announced that RTX Remix is coming to open beta later this month, January 22nd, so that... It is a neat technology, but I'm not as excited about it as some might be, or certainly as much as NVIDIA may want you to be. So the idea is, and it's a neat idea, it just is sort of a, well, alright, sure, whatever. It essentially, okay, so take this game. Sorry, I just clicked that so I could see OBS a little bit more. Actually, how long have I got? 52 minutes. Okay, I need to be wrapping it up. But if you were to use RTX Remix for this game, what it would be doing is basically hooking into this game to get information here. It would also be looking at it, I believe. And here, let's take the stone blocks here, right? It would recognize, oh, those are stone blocks, and then it would load up in a separate window, essentially, the new texture, the new assets for these blocks, and just put them in the right spot. It's essentially a mask over a game that will then use whatever assets and effects you have enabled. Which is kind of neat, because it does mean that you can have like an old game, like a DirectX 8 even era game, and do this and have some really neat modern effects and new assets, like sharper textures and such. Right? That's neat. But it's also, you are basically just impersonating the game. You're not actually playing the game to... Well, you are still playing the game. It still like needs to be able to run in the background. And it's also, there's an element of, like with the Quake 2 RTX, when that came out, and it's like, NVIDIA was doing like, here it is with RTX on, and see how it looks so much better? It's like, yeah, but you're also adding in half a dozen other effects that have nothing to do with ray tracing, just because you can. Yeah, I mean, that annoys me, and I do feel that RTX Remix is gonna see some of that happening all over again. So they did things like, so Quake 2, I'm pretty sure it's Quake 2. I don't want to turn away to deal with the test system just yet. What on earth are you doing? I figured I would wait for this autosave and then make a formal save. So now I can stop and just try to talk and finish getting through some stuff, because I want to finish talking about the RTX Remix, but there's also, oh yeah, I want to mention Pulsar and the Twitch enhanced streaming, which is neat. Okay, that's weird. Didn't I tell exit to desktop? Quit to desktop? Whatever. Yeah, just give me a moment. You are hearing me taking off my headphones, by the way, in case that comes through. Alright. Come on. Yes, it is Quake 2. Okay. So Quake 2 is an interesting thing in that... Hang on, I'm going to unplug my headphones. There's no audio out from the desktop, so I don't need it plugged in anymore. Years ago, before Quake 2 RTX, I think it was a PhD student, might have been a master's student, replaced the Quake 2 engine, which is something Quake 2 just you're able to do. And he built something called Q2 VKPT, Quake 2 Vulkan Path Tracing. And this was back at the era of the original RTX 20 series. And he basically put ray tracing and path tracing even into it as a very neat tech demo. It was really cool because you could actually turn on and off things such as the denoising. I've talked about this before, that many games today, well, at least back then, I don't know if they share that information anymore, you're getting 1-2 rays per pixel. To actually recreate a scene photorealistically, you need hundreds. I think I've seen 250 is considered the minimum for it to be a complete scene, completely rendered. But realistically, you're talking more like 500 or 1,000 rays per pixel. There's no GPU capable of that today for real time. Just, there isn't. That's why I need the denoising. It actually is what takes the information and builds up the complete image. Even though you don't have enough information directly from shading the rays, the information from the rays. So it was really neat how you could turn off the denoising and see what you're actually sampling and shading. When NVIDIA did Quake 2 RTX, they basically built on top of that, but Q2 VKPT is actually Quake 2 with ray tracing. That's what that is. Well, with path tracing. That's what it is. Quake 2 RTX is that with new textures, with technically ambient occlusion would be built in, but a physically based rendering. They were changing things so that now it's basically applying physically based rendering for for fluids and such in there. They changed a lot. They added a lot. It's not the same graphics. It's not just hey, here's what ray tracing can do. It's hey, here's what ray tracing and decades of more graphical techniques and methods being developed put into Quake 2 looks like. So I am concerned that RTX Remix may see people doing that, and they are working on a Half-Life 2 RTX thing as well. I think it was Half-Life 2. It might have been Half-Life 1. But it's still neat, but I do have this concern that people are going to look at it and think it's one thing when it's no, that's not actually how that works. Okay, so Pulsar, this thing is actually pretty neat. The name is perhaps not accurate, but I'll explain that in a little bit. Basically, in order to fight motion blur, there's a few things you can do. One is having a higher refresh rate, but you can also, there's something called ULMB, ultra low motion blur. What it does is it strobes the backlight on and off. So the way basically any video system works is it exploits persistence of vision. If you see an image, you will continue to see that image actually for a little bit. So when the next image comes up, your brain just blends from one to the next. Excuse me. Well, problem with that is because you have with a monitor discrete frames, there's not an actual smooth one there, things can blur together. You have monitor level motion blur. What ULMB does is it turns off the backlight during the transition, which is advantageous because that means then that you don't have a clear image anymore where they're mixing. So that dark frame clears out the persistence of vision somewhat, so the two frames should appear sharper. It's essentially artificially making one frame a higher contrast from another, but in a temporal sense, not an actual this is more white and that is more black kind of contrast. What Pulsar does is it makes that strobing variable rate. Normally it's a fixed rate. So if you have a variable rate game, then you kind of, it doesn't work so well. So you can't have G-Sync or FreeSync work with ULMB. They are in conflict. Pulsar allows it to vary, which is kind of an unfortunate name because pulsars, I get that it's pulsing, but a pulsar in astronomy and cosmology, they're very, very regular. You can identify a single pulsar just by its the rate at which it's pulsing. Okay, they can be that precise. Also, the specific frequency is also neat. Is also a way to identify them. But one other thing that they do, they were showing videos and looking at the videos, these example videos that NVIDIA shared, it's like, but there's ghosting. It's like I can see ghosting with pulsar on that isn't in the other. And I also was seeing like there was some stuff in the background was different. I was not actually impressed by the image they were showing for pulsar being on. Now, true, it was slowed down maybe at normal speed at real time. Wouldn't know, is it? Don't know. But it's definitely, I'm seeing these differences here. That's like the image is different. It's not just say, oh, it's sharper, there's less motion. No, it's like this is a different image. Not dramatically different, but still is different, and that always bothers me. It's also part of the reason why I don't always like ray tracing, because like ray tracing should basically be the same image as rasterization, just more accurate. So like Shadow of the Tomb Raider. What article should be my Shadow of the Tomb Raider performance analysis? If you look at that, there should be screenshots in there where I have RT shadows on and RT shadows off, and the shadows move. But they're permanent. These were permanent shadows because there's no time of day system in that game. And these are like a shadow being cast by a mountain, which doesn't move. And suddenly the shadows move just because I turned on ray tracing. It's like, yeah, that's not right. That should never have changed. That shadow could have been baked in. You could have used ray tracing at 1,000 rays per pixel for that, 2,000 even, to make that hyper accurate and just baked it into the texture, and no one would know. Okay? So the fact they then moved, it's like, okay, this image is now different. It's not better. It is different. And there's no justification. So that stuff does bother me. And so with Pulsar, I'm a little leery. The first monitor to have it, though, will be an Asus ROG 360Hz 1440p 27-inch monitor, I believe. I don't remember the full name. It is in the NVIDIA news item I wrote up this week, though. But yeah, they also announced something else. That this is neat. I do have some dislike for it. Not for what the technology is, just the fact that this is a solution to a problem. Twitch enhanced streaming with OBS. Basically what they're doing, this is a good thing. It will allow you to have your NVIDIA RTX GPU encode multiple video streams to send to Twitch all at the same time. So you can have it send a 1080p stream, you can have it send a 720p stream, and you can have it send a 480p stream at different bandwidths. Now, obviously, that is, you need to upload more. But, and this is what I don't like, why doesn't Twitch just transcode it? I mean, this seems weird. It's like anytime I've looked at a Twitch stream, I can select different resolutions and get the different qualities and different download bandwidths, but they're talking about how, oh yeah, this way somebody like viewing on mobile, like on their phone, can get the 480 stream, so they're not really hitting their data for a 1080 stream. It's like, okay, I get that, but why isn't it just being transcoded down to 480? I don't understand why Twitch is like not doing that. I mean, I get that there can be some latency, but do you really need that? I don't understand why this problem exists in that way. But it's also weird because, and it is an AV1. If you look up, at least with SVT AV1, it does reference super resolution, which I hate the term there. It's a scalable feature though. The scalable video encoding, where it's basically the raw base image might be 480, but you also encode into the stream, in a separate part of the stream, but still in there, the data you would need to make it a 720 stream, and also the data you need for a 1080 stream. Basically, think of how these upscalers work. You would physically scale the image up, but then you apply a mask to it to add in the detail. That's very, very roughly how like DLSS works and FSR works and XeSS. Very roughly, it's just you're making the image physically larger and then applying some correction to that to add in detail. You can actually do that in video codecs. There are some codecs, and well, at least the concept has been developed, and I'm pretty sure that there are actually codecs that use it. AV1 technically supports it. It's named super resolution, which I mean, in theory, you could actually have somebody send out a 1080p AV1 stream, a single stream, to a server, but by using super resolution, Somebody could be past the 480 portion of that stream, that would be smaller. Somebody could be past the 720 portion of the stream, which would be smaller. And somebody could be past the full 1080 stream, and they would have it all. I don't know why it seems like we're not doing this, because it's like that way the users sending it out, the streamer sending it out, they're sending out one stream, not 3. So it's going to be easier on them. And it's also, well, it would be harder to encode, but still this is a feature that exists. I don't, yeah. But that is, let me check. It might be in my notes. No, it isn't. It is to come. I think they said that the open beta for that is supposed to start. Well, the beta for it is supposed to start this month, and they want to expand it in the future to support up to 5 streams and 4K at 60. And this is also Twitch will finally start accepting AV1 streams to it. But yeah, I love the idea of the technology. I really do. I do. Especially because I've been for many years now doing stuff where I have to record multiple streams via OBS all at the same time. They're with different windows. They're different content, not just different resolutions. But I like the idea that they're putting some capability in there. But it's also, I've been doing that with software encoding. I've been doing that with X264. It's like my 1950X kicks that out beautifully. It's amazing. So this is something that technically you could be doing. There are ways to have done this already, basically, but to codify it into OBS, awesome, love it, want to see it, especially if they expand it out where it's like one OBS instance, multiple recording of different scenes and such. Love it. Love it that happens. It's just, as I said, I don't know why this is the thing we need. I don't know why Twitch can't just have a better server infrastructure such that everyone enjoys some level of transcoding. But apparently not everyone does. I don't know. I used to do these streams on Twitch, but it just was kind of annoying. I always wanted to have the video put onto YouTube, so when YouTube had its streaming stuff, I would stream there, and then I learned I can't rely on my uploads, so I just record them early and upload them. So, yeah, I mean, maybe at some point in the future, if I could trust my internet, I would start streaming again. I just don't know what I would be streaming. Because I'm happy doing it this way. It's nice doing it this way. But, yeah, it's a neat technology. It also means that technically NVIDIA is opening up their NVENC encoder to do more encoding streams. It used to be locked to 2. Unless you got like a professional card. Maybe this will, I don't know if they've ever lifted that limit for the consumer cards. This technically would be doing that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but it's a neat feature. Twitch, why do we need this? I was like, Twitch is supposed to be the go-to for this streaming stuff. They should have the capital to do this kind of investment to make it not necessary. And it's Amazon behind them. I mean, but also to be fair, they are laying off a whole bunch of people, so apparently they are having some issues, but I don't know if that's monetary or if it's just they realized, hey, we got a lot more people here than we need, which would still come down to monetary reasons. So, but hey, on the bright side, if there's a bunch of people being laid off from Twitch, including engineers, maybe they can start their own system as well. I mean, just because you lose your job doesn't mean you lose your skills and experience. Remember that. You can figure out some way to apply it elsewhere, including just coming up with your own solution. Which reminds me, I need to start looking for new jobs. No. I've actually just, I'm happy with my job, but it's a job, it's not a career, and I do want to get a career kind of thing going. It would not be streaming though. I don't think I can do that. I don't think I could make that into a career. Oh man, I'm comfortable with public speaking, but I know I'm dull. I know I'm boring, and I think I'd always need. I couldn't do it solo. I think I'd always need somebody else. I don't have anyone else for that. So yeah. Anyway, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that might be worth mentioning. None is really coming to mind. CES for me ends today. For you, it ended yesterday. I'll probably start seeing a lot more game news coming up soon. Because who would want to announce during CES? Oh, I can share that. Framework. They've said that they will actually hopefully be shipping out the or at least getting things ready for shipping out the end of the month. So I may have my laptop inside of a month. Yay! That'll be interesting. One thing that is neat is that I did see a thing. Even though what I ordered would be the DIY, so they're not assembling it for me, the GPU expansion bay card thing will actually come pre-installed. I won't need to put that in, and no one else who ordered that. That I do appreciate, because that is the thing I'd be most worried about putting in incorrectly and breaking something. So that makes me happy. Anyway, so yeah, that it's still probably going to be a month or more, but it's like, hey, for anyone that also purchased one but didn't see that news, coming soon, or for anyone that is just interested in such a modular laptop design that's 16 inches, more gaming focused than the Framework 13, stuff is moving. Stuff is moving there. So yeah, see you next time.